Kayla, are you ready to take a reading? Can I? We have a caller from Sherry from Canada, who's very patiently waiting to speak with you.
Sure.
Are you ready? Okay, Sherry, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Taylor, what kind of information do you need from Sherry to get started, or do you just want to read her cold?
The only thing I usually ask Sherry to connect is just your birthday.
April 18th, 1956.
I love this. There are so many Aries that are connected to me that always come through, and that's just a really special birthday. I think the last Infinite Quest that was on, I spoke with someone from April 18th as well. And I think that's because so many align with that, with the Aries energy right now. There is such a deep understanding that something is coming greater. And Sherry, I really feel for you right now that what you're looking at is a peace of mind that you've never had before. I feel in your aura right now, the way things are changing, that you're beginning to look at the world completely different than you ever thought you might would. And there's really a pressing from the other side working with you, wanting that change to happen. For the first time, you're learning to take a really deep breath and look and say, okay, maybe there is a different way to approach this and to do this and to feel it and to find a peace with it. I don't think it's been the easiest thing sometimes to do, and there's been some uh, a little pressure put upon you. I guess like Aries, they're the diamond, so turning that diamond in the rough and polishing it. So you've had some things that have kind of put you in that position where you've had to learn to say, am I going to feel the same way about this, or relax and let it unwind? And with that, things are opening up in a really big way for you. I think it's going to change in not just some relationships you have, but in career as well, with things that you want to do differently. New doors are going to open. I also feel two people around you that you haven't had a connection with in quite a while, but there's an opportunity coming back with them where you're going to be able to open up with them, and they're going to share some things with you that surprises you, where they've opened up in a different way, and you're going to communicate completely different with them. If I could gather this just in a nutshell here to say, it's that a whole new doorway is opening for you, a whole new world, which is a world of perception, which is all we really ever have. Life is how we perceive it. And sometimes that's real difficult. We tend to see things in a black and white world and not understanding that we can shift. And that's the movement that I see in your aura right now, is that everything is shifting and moving, forcing you to look at new patterns, out of the old patterns and into the new. And the more you relax and go with it, the easier they're going to flow in with these two people that want to work with you and communicate with you in different ways. And with everything in your life, you have a real opportunity to shift right now, a real gift for it to happen. And if you can just relax and let go, which is hard a little bit for Aries sometimes to do, because you're so good at organizing and forming and just running ahead. But this is a time for you to stand back and let all the things that you've built up turn around and come back to you, but in a different way than you might have seen them.
Wow. Sherry, do you have any particular questions? I think, Kayla, you covered an awful lot in a really short time.
Yes,
Sherry,
yes.
processing, or do you have anything specific you'd like to ask?
Um, I think probably I want to know about my dad. Is he around? Does he know what I'm doing?
Okay, now, of course, you know that my show, Sherry, is not about mediumship. We reserve mediumship for Medium Mondays, okay? So I'm going to encourage you to call back in on Monday and make sure you speak to the mediums on Monday.
Okay.
But, you know, how long ago did your dad cross?
Almost 16 years.
Okay. Now, why is it that it seems like just yesterday? Have you lost somebody just recently, or have you gone through a loss in your life like within maybe this last year?
No.
And I don't mean just the loss of a person. I mean somebody close to you whose marriage broke up, or who you were really close friends with that moved away, or what? Because my guides are telling me that there's been a recent loss that's created a sense of emptiness in you, which is one of the reasons you're finding yourself really looking back. It's not just like this is his birthday coming up or something like that. There's a hole in you, okay? And yeah, so you're like, okay, wow, dad would have been there for me, you know. So you're kind of looking back at that kind of stuff. Um, when I ask my guides, is your dad around as a guide? I get a no. When I ask them, is he okay? I get a, oh yes, he is. Okay, so at least in this moment, he is not one of the guides who's coming in to help you. He may be a guide at another time, but he's not there now. On the other hand, he's doing fine. There's no issues around him that are negative. Now, my guides are telling me that you or someone close to you this year has gone through either a breakup or a very, very hard time with a relationship. And what they're doing is saying that you need to let go of all that. No matter what they're doing, you need to let go of all that. It's stealing your energy. It's stealing your life force. And what you need to be doing is focusing on the healthy relationships and the healthy people around you, because I see this bright and lovely communion between you and your partner or your partner of the future. I see things coming together for you in an absolutely amazing fashion, but that can't really happen until you make the decision to close that door, let go, and walk away. Okay, so there's some amazing changes happening in your life, but I agree totally with Kayla that it's up to you to embrace them.
Right. Yes, I know exactly. I'm doing the right thing.
Yes, you are. You most definitely are. You're from the guides that I do connect with. You are getting women, female guides jumping up and down, rooting for you, saying, "Yay!" Okay. So absolutely, you're doing the right thing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Kayla, that was very interesting. You basically get that information. It just pours through, and obviously it came through you so quickly. It was kind of like a wash of intense energy. I could feel that coming through, and you almost could not move your mouth fast enough to keep up with it. Okay?
That's exactly how it happens for me. I have to try to physically slow myself down. It just comes rushing out so quickly, just trying to pour it out what I'm seeing. It's like I step into the person's auric field, and I can see Akashic records. I can see things at times in the past life. And at the end there, too, when you were speaking with Sherry, I felt a fireman energy around her coming around. And I wanted to say, I think it's so wonderful at the holidays to light a candle for our loved ones, because they can always be with us. And she might enjoy maybe setting a place at the dinner table for the holidays with a picture of her father and a candle, and just to feel his energy around in that way. They're always looking after us and loving us. And I just got a sense of like a fireman and fire and a candle. So maybe the light like that will help her.
Have been her father. The way I read is I connect with people's guides and get the information about their future and their life. I'm getting it from their guides and from my guides. And if her dad isn't actually acting as a guide, I'm not going to get him. He might very well have been there as a, hey, honey, I do love you, okay? And you would have then been picking up that fiery energy of her father if he indeed was a fire sign. So that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And incidentally, folks, this is one of the reasons it's so amazingly wonderful and so much fun to have two psychics working together, because information comes in such different ways, and we can be working with the same person and getting overlapping information, which when you put it together fleshes things out and gives so much more depth. It's really pretty amazing. Kayla, we have another gal on the line already. This is Sally, and she's from your former state of Florida and my present state of Florida. Sally, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you?
Welcome. Sally, what's your sun sign?
My sun sign is Taurus, but I am calling with a question concerning my daughter, who's also a Taurus.
Ah, double Taurian energy. You know what they say about that? Oh, I'm just teasing, actually. When a Taurus or when any sun sign is born to another sun sign, there's kind of a continuation of the energy, and you will bounce off of one another. So there are times you might be the Taurus, she might be playing the opposite end of the zodiac, the Scorpio energy, and then you spin it around, and you might be playing the Scorpio energy, she plays the Taurus energy. You will bounce off each other just like twins would if they were in the same household. It's kind of fun. Yeah. Kayla, what information do you have to give to Sally?
Sally, can you give me your daughter's first name and her actual date of birth?
Her date of birth is 5/5/1970.
And her first name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, okay. Anything in particular, or you want me just to go?
You can go. She's concerned about her career, but please feel free to do whatever you'd like.
Okay. It's funny because I don't really feel Elizabeth, the name, connecting with her strongly. I would think she probably goes by a nickname or is more comfortable with an abbreviated version. Or if she's ever thought about changing her name, I think it would actually be good for her. It's such a formal name, and her energy feels a lot more playful to me. The thing I picked up as soon as you started talking, before you even gave me her name, just connecting through you, was about when she was 19. And there's very something important with that age that she needs to go back and look at, where she set the tone there for the rest of her life is where she was heading. There's a very important message for her back at that age that I think would help her decide what she's doing now. She's been pulled in a lot of directions, and she's let, I think, other people kind of give her a lot of advice and opinions about things to do, so much so that she's feeling a little muddled about it all. She needs to, I think, step away from everyone and ignore what's going on in the world right now. No matter, everyone's got an opinion about economy and politics and what's happening. She knows herself at her core better than anyone else does. And I think it's time for her to go back to that age of 19, remember what she really loved and what she loved to do. And maybe if she's a writer, she can journal it or just talk it out with someone that'll just listen. It's not a time for advice for her. It's really her realizing what she wants to do and to be, and to step back to that. So if you could ask her to do that, and sometimes when people think they try to remember, they don't remember at first, ask her to spend a day or two, ask to dream about it, what life was like for her at 19. It was a very pivotal year for her. And if she'll connect back with that, it'll open up as far as what she wants to do with career and how she feels about herself. And if she has thought about calling herself a different name, an abbreviated version of it, or to go by a nickname, I really think it'll help change some of the energy around her. The Elizabeth just doesn't seem to harmonize the same with what I see in her auric fields. And a different name, I think they have vibration to them, and even spellings of words have vibration as well. And I think it would really do her some good.
Okay, great.
That's interesting, because I almost feel like in her relationship with you, she's Elizabeth, but in her relationship with other people, she's Beth. Interesting. You should talk to her about that.
Yes, I will.
Also, I'm just looking at her chart. I pulled open the astrology and looking at her planetary positions. You know, she's a Taurus with a Taurus moon, which makes sense because the moon in your chart is very frequently indicative of your mom. And of course, you're a Taurus. And she also has Saturn, which is the planet of karma, in Taurus. Now, next year, exactly a year from now, transiting Saturn is going to move into an opposition with all of those Taurian planets. So both you and she are going to go through some really major life-changing events in the year 2013. Now, what you should be telling your daughter is that instead of freaking out about her career right now, she should be very positively thinking about what she wants to do and building a good foundation for where she wants to go, and she's got 1 year to do that. By this time next year, she needs to have made her choices and have the new platform in place. And she also should not worry too much about the finances. They are going to take care of themselves. She has not only got all those Taurian planets, but she has a south node in Virgo, and transiting Pluto is going through Capricorn. That's giving her a grand trine in the earth signs that will last until 2017. So she's going to be able to take a leap and land with her feet under her each time up until then. And right now, if she takes a big bite and is willing to do the work, she's going to be able to make up the distance to do as well as she needs to do. Tell her that, okay?
Yes,
Quit
I
trying
will.
to just do it.
I will.